It's your rock station, 99.7 The Blitz. It's Bodhi hanging out backstage at Sonic Temple 2023. We are in the middle of it right now. We're on day 3 of a 4-day festival over here. And I was just telling our guest right at the moment, I'll introduce him here in just a second if you haven't already figured out who he is, how pumped up I've been to see this band play live at this festival. Or regardless of where they're playing, I want to go see them because they put on such a good show that if you like great musicianship and showmanship, this is the band for you. Trust me. This is Johannes from Avatar. How are you, brother? It's good to meet you, man.
Good. How are you?
Thanks for stopping by the Blitz Sonic Studio and hanging out with us here.
Happy to be here, and thank you for putting absolutely no pressure on our performance today. It is the second to last show of I have lost count of out of how many, which means at this point we should be this well-oiled machine.
Yes.
Or just being, held together by gum and gaff. Soon to find out.
I think you guys are going to be just fine. The last time I saw you before COVID hit and everything, you guys were playing at what you said on stage that night was your very first show in our nation's capital, Washington, D.C. You were playing with Baby Metal.
Oh, yeah, all right, yeah.
And so I was just like, oh, my God, I can't wait to see these guys again. And then, COVID hit, and I'm like, God. And then so we had to wait another, 3 or 4 years, and here you guys are again, and you have your latest album, Dance Devil Dance, came out a few months ago. Is the band itself, and pardon my ignorance, but I want to know, is the band your brainchild, or is everybody in the group involved with every aspect of the band?
I like to convey the idea in interviews that it's basically all me, but that's not true.
Okay.
It was founded by John and Jonas way back when. I joined early on. They hadn't done anything before. The rest of us we've been really have grown up together.
Yeah.
And as such, I feel when it comes to songwriting, for instance, the way we see it is like 3 of us are essentially the song starters in terms of songwriting, but we always finish it up together. We are actually one of the more democratic groups you'll ever find out there, and that's what we're being told. So it's very much a collective thing.
Yeah. Now, how long, do you guys start immediately, once an album's done, do you immediately grasp it and take control of it and just hold on to it and push it as hard as you can, or are you already thinking about concepts for the next album?
Yeah, I guess it's a little bit of both. And everything that happens after a release in terms of going on stage or making music videos, all these things, we treat it in our minds. It's not just that it's something is more marketing or promotion of it. The way we have fun doing the whole thing is that we treat everything as part of the art project, right? So, you're done with making the songs, and then you start to build these other contexts for the songs once, they're done. Videos, stage show, whatever. And then that's why the creative process of an album, Dance Devil Dance, keeps going and going. At the same time as in the back of your head and, in your free time, you start to work on that little riff pile almost immediately, but it's also, in the real early phases, it's really about do whatever you want, kind of feel out, enjoying that blank sheet of paper in front of you thing. So it's not that none of us goes really hard, like, okay, the next album's gonna be, because there is definitely, we always look for a way to make this feel new and relevant and interesting to us. And part of that is just to have some time to send out feelers into what you have inside of you that wants to come out, and not just rush into the next thing, because there's really no formula to our music beyond that. We still get very excited about heavy metal.
Nice.
But beyond that, we see where that takes us, in what direction, and what we want to actually say with it at any given time.
Yeah.
And that is very, loosey-goosey in the beginning.
Johannes from Avatar is hanging out with us on the Blitz. The Dirt I'm Buried In. We've been playing the crap out of that song. I freaking love it. The first day we got our hands on it, Johannes, I'm not exaggerating. I listened to that song relentlessly over and over and over. I love it. I love the track. And the video, it hit home with me so much because I grew up loving science fiction and horror.
Yeah.
And you've got an Invisible Man.
Yeah.
You've got a Mummy.
Yeah.
You've got a couple of Wolfmen in the video.
In
with
other
you.
words, the Universal movie monsters
Yes,
that was the
yes,
most
yes.
affordable to recreate for a music video.
Did you grow up liking the same things? Were you into science fiction and horror?
Yeah, of course, and especially those classics. And it's funny, like in the beginning, how you get secondhand fed that. I'm sure I saw all of them first in Fred Flintstone or Scooby Doo
Yeah.
or whatever,
Yeah.
you know. And then through the years, you start to explore back where it actually came from.
Right.
And at this point, I guess I'm pretty up to date with the classics
Yeah.
of it. But yeah, there was always, I think that was part of, you know, being a metalhead before you know you're a metalhead. That when I'm a real little kid and there's not really heavy metal in my household, not that it was forbidden, just, you know, there was Beatles instead and stuff. And in that environment still that you're drawn to, they were showing reruns of Addams Family on TV and like, that's dark, that's something.
Yeah.
And, you know, I'm drawn to that. Or even The Monsters, the
Yes.
same thing, reruns
Yep.
was sent. And that my favorite Michael Jackson song as a kid was Thriller because,
Yeah.
you know, that was a scary
Yeah.
song.
Yep.
And in that sense, you're drawn to, you know, the best episode of, let's say, Flintstones is when when there's a mummy or whatever.
Yeah.
So you're immediately drawn to those things before you know what you're actually drawn to. And then you hear Black Sabbath and like, okay,
Yeah.
that is what I was looking for.
Yeah. So listening to Black Sabbath was possibly the first moment that you started to like the idea of the concept of being in a band?
No, it's older than that. Again, like
Okay.
because music came into my life real early in terms of through my parents, you know, the bands out of the '60s and
The Beatles, you mentioned.
Yeah, the Beatles, for instance, the Kinks, very
Yep.
much so. I think was my dad's favorite band, and Stones. All of that combined with a lot of classical music, so that I wanted to be a conductor. I had seen one on TV, I guess, already when I was 4 years old. They did put me in front of a piano when I was 5. Usually when people tell the story of starting piano when they're 5, they sound like they should be on Ellen DeGeneres or some crappy show like that. That's not the kind of piano player I am. But I'm just saying it was there early on, and you know, again, Michael Jackson as a kid, but very much the Beatles. So the idea of music and doing music one form or another was there way before heavy metal came into my life. I'm already 12 when Sabbath, absolutely, Kiss, a lot of the classic rock stuff, you
Yep.
know, alongside the big turning point for me was Halloween, Keeper of the
Yeah.
Seven Keys Part 2. That's when I stopped cutting my hair when I heard that
Yeah.
the first time.
Yeah.
So I was already pulled in that direction since I was really small.
Yeah. Which frontman in the music business do you look at and go, that guy gets it? That is something that maybe I might be able to shape into some elements of my own. Or do you just like doing your own thing and go, you know
No,
what?
I do my homework,
Yeah.
and I'm a fan of a lot of things. If I just pick one off the top of my head,
Yeah.
I'd put Rob Halford real high.
Rob Halford, okay. Judas Priest.
Yeah, exactly. There are many I could pick from, but what I like everything that is, you know, a physical performance. That goes also in the style of music, that we really perform in a way where it kind of, you know, hurts a little bit. You push your sweat from doing that, that the music comes through something that raises your pulse in the way it's being performed. And I think that push, that energy was definitely always there. And then that completes, I mean, Judas Priest is a theatrical band as we aspire to be as well, you know, and you have those, you know, I have balloons, he has a motorcycle and whatever. But when you strip it down, it's all in, aside from the musical performance, it's all in the eyes. And I feel like Rob Halford might have the best eyes in heavy metal when you look at all concert footage and everything, the complete presence. But I mean, I could make this list endless. And now there's a concert by The Doors. I don't remember which year it's from, but the opening song they start with is When the Music's Over.
Okay.
And they do it as a jam that takes forever before Jim Morrison even approaches the microphone. And again, the ability to carry a presence and to rest and live inside of a moment without wanting to jump to the next thing. Because I'm jumpy. I like if I do this move, I want to switch after doing it 4 times.
Yeah.
Okay, I'm done. Instead of like be in the music. And Jim Morrison, of course, was the total opposite of that. Just wandering around, being this unearthly presence just by being before he attacks the microphone and starts singing. And I'm very much drawn to that. But I can list them all off to you. You know, we got Bruce Dickinson of Iron Maiden, of course. We have Freddie Mercury, of course. You have Mick Jagger, of course. And you have, I mean, I could go on for quite some time, you know.
Well, you have
Aretha
created...
Franklin, you know, like it's...
You have a presence yourself, and because...
James Brown. Anyway, yeah.
You never know what this guy is going to do or say on stage. I mean, he could disappear and show up on the balcony somewhere or out in the crowd somewhere. Have you ever pushed it so far when you've gone out into the crowd where you're like, okay, I might want to step back from this just a little too much?
No.
No?
You know, like, I mean, there are occasional close calls.
Yeah, yeah.
But no, it's all fine. In terms of the people that are around you, like they're just happy people who appreciate you a lot. It's usually not an issue. Then it's like the part of making it back to stage in time for doing your next thing. And I've always made it.
Yeah.
But that being said, I still sometimes you are very, very, very out of breath at the time when you make it back.
Yeah. Are you just shot after a show because you guys put so much into your performance? Do you just go back and just crash afterwards?
I try really hard to reach that point. I feel, again, I think it's in the essence of performing heavy metal that the sound is so, like I said, deeply connected to a performance that is demanding of you physically. I feel like that's a factor in what it means to sing these kind of things that needs that to give the right expression. So everything done right, it should be, I should be pretty spent. Then, therefore, just touring is, for me, a great training camp for my home life in terms of my resting pulse now is way lower than it was a month ago.
Yeah,
you know?
yeah. Well, I could go on for an hour with Johannes. I could ask this guy 100 questions, but I don't want to drain him, and I don't want him to get sick of me if you're not already.
No, you're doing fine.
Like I said, I'm a fan, so I could talk to you for hours. Go see these guys. I wish that they had a longer set to play in, because festivals, there's 80 bands at this festival this weekend, and I'm so thankful that you guys are here.
We are happy to be here.
That you agreed to come and play this festival. But by all means, go see them do a headlining performance, too, where they're out there for like almost 2 hours, just absolutely crushing it. You will not be disappointed.
Hopefully.
Trust me, if you're into like Rob Zombie or Slipknot type shows, you're going to love Avatar. You're going to love them. And a matter of fact, you guys with Rob are back to back tonight at this festival. I'm so pumped up because you guys are two of my favorite bands.
It's going to be a spectacle.